did my surf questionnaire based off the Bernard Prévost questions that were from
Your famous surf questionnaire.
Yes. Basically, I adapted, like, I don't know if you ever watched Inside the Actor's Studio.
Yes.
I adapted that questionnaire and made it for surfing. And, I asked questions like, if heaven exists, normally James Lipton would ask, if heaven exists, what would you want him to say to you? Instead, I'm like, if heaven exists, what sort of wave would you like to surf for eternity? Like things that are more fun, or if you
impossible choices.
Totally. Or if you could go back in time and pick one surfboard from your history, what would that be and why? Things. Yeah, these are fun on the spot questions.
Because you take it seriously, and that the surf and what we surround ourselves with surf is a reflection of the soul.
Yeah, and most of the time, people are shit at it. One of the questions I asked, like, what's your favorite surf term? What's your least favorite? And they always struggle.
It's a hard one.
It's very difficult, So this is that, and then after we I take questions from the audience, and it's just like a small little interesting tidbit on hijinks in Japan that we'll roll into, and basically like Sonny Miller and a couple other people would go to thrift stores and buy like 70s clothing, bring them to Japan while they're on tour, and
it's so awesome. That's my girlfriend just got back from Japan, and it's so about the fashion. Even then, right?
But they were treated as outcasts. They would just get hammered. And then, like, do disco on the rail, on the train, their subway, their metro system, and like would be totally obnoxious. But they called it daggy dancing. and if you ever want to see it, it's actually in Sarge's Surfing Scrapbook Take 4. All of them are on YouTube. I highly recommend watching them. They're these wonderful behind the scenes movies of surfing on tour in the 90s.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
And it's this scene
for fashion's sake alone.
Dude, it's amazing. It's Brad Gerlach, Brisick, Rod Kerr, Damian Hardman, John Shimoka, all these people, and they're just loose and dancing and going nuts, and it's hilarious. So here's Brisick like talking about the questionnaire, and then taking a question from the audience, discussing all that sort of stuff, and it's gold. It's gold. Well, we're going to finish up with a questionnaire concept that was lifted by James Lipton and originated by French television personality Bernard Prévost. After the Proust questionnaire, I'd like you to see if you can answer these questions, and then that'll conclude our evening.
I'll do the best I can.
What are your favorite qualities in a surfer?
Good style.
What is your favorite surfing term?
Slash.
What is your least favorite surfing term?
Sick.
What is your surfing weakness?
Big waves.
We saw that you had no balls, huh?
Exactly.
Sorry.
That's good.
What sort of wave turns you on?
Playful, tubular waves.
What sort of wave turns you off?
Jaws, Chopu, Cyclops.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Drummer for a mid-range band.
What profession would you not like to do?
Politics, in general.
If you could surf like any surfer, who would it be?
Derek Hind.
Nice. If heaven exists, what sort of wave would you like to surf for eternity?
Malibu with no one out.
So that concludes our Smash event. Are there any questions in the audience for anyone back there?
I've got 2 questions.
Stand up, please. Introduce yourself. Funboarder Finn?
Yeah, first question, and I could be off on this, but I feel like you semi-publicly apologized for some unspecified happening in Japan, the nation of Japan, at some point.
So the To the second question, the first time I ever surfed Jeffreys Bay, it was perfect, and it was sort of everything that you would want from Jeffreys Bay based on all the movies and magazines that we've seen, and all the top guys were out, and on my first wave I got three barrels, which was fantastic. The third one I didn't make, but the first question, Japan, going back to the Faces of Death and all this kind of prankster stuff, there was this period in the late 80s where Brad Gerlach and Sonny Miller would come to the events in Japan with a couple of suitcases full of the worst, most gaudy thrift store outfits that you could possibly find. And everyone would put them on, and we would go into Tokyo. But before we got on the train from Chiba into Tokyo, which is about an hour, we would drink a lot of alcohol. We would sort of stock up. And I mean, we were literally, swigging Jack Daniels and then some sake and then the big, tall beers and what have you. And we were just absolutely obnoxious. And there would be salarymen who would be reading their newspapers and, kind of like laughing and going like this. And they did get sprayed by the fire hydrant when we were shooting it around the whole thing. And there was chases in the train stations, and we would go to clubs and just be obnoxious on the dance floor. And so a bunch of us got caught by the train station, the train station manager, what have you, and we were reported to the surf contest. So we had to write these apologies that were we wrote them as apologizing to Japanese culture in general. And I apologize again because I've spent a lot of time in Japan, and that's horrible behavior.
And Tyler, thanks for sharing that. You brought that's when we started this show a couple of years ago. You said I have stuff in the archives, and you went and found gold.
This was really fun. I really, it was funny. Like there's parts of it actually at the beginning that weren't recorded that were really good too. We missed out on, and I was surprised that how well the audio quality actually was. I was going through.
What were you recording this on?
It was just a live,
right into the board.
We had a mic, and then we videoed it, and it was off the video actually, and the audio, and there was a mic hooked up to that camera too, and so it was awesome. And it was one of the best interviews I ever did because I got to spend days leading up to it with Jamie and really getting to know him and getting to know his stories and then being able to pull all that out. It was really rewarding. And Jamie is just such a special person in surf culture. He's a great writer. He's a great historian, a great person, really funny, great sense of humor. Like someone you meet, you just want to hang out with.
Yeah, that's clear.
And
folks will find him in the film that we'll be doing an episode on next week.
Yes. And what is the name of that film?
Chris is gonna kill
Self-Discovery for Social Survival, Ben.
Yes.
Mexican Summer and Pilgrim, Chris Gentile and that whole crew. But it's and Brisick was part of that. And Jamie's has a really close connection to Chris, and he's just awesome. Cannot speak highly enough about Jamie, and really psyched that we were able to capture this. There have been other interviews with him, but this goes nice and deep and granular, and Jamie delivers. So really psyched. But next week we'll have Chris Gentile to discuss his new movie, which I'm really excited about. And then on top of that, we're going to release an interview that I did with my buddy Sancho Rodriguez.
Yeah, man. On your vacation in the north coast of Spain.
Yeah, and he's
always working, Tyler is.
Man. Yeah, no sleep for me. But yeah, so really psyched. But Ben, we're going to have a crazy summer. And we're both in and out, and we're just going to try to produce as much as possible.
We're going to. I mean, we have guests. We have shows lined up. We thank our listeners for sticking with us. And, we're going to do I do a little bit of a hiatus sabbatical in Canada in end of July, first week of August. I lead a canoe trip in Ontario, so I will be doing that. So I won't be here for those shows, but man, we carry on, and then
we'll try to pre-record,
exactly.
And I got some other gold still of some older interviews. And also,
we're like Pix 11, man. We got content reruns for fucking years.
But also, for all of you listening, obviously like us on Instagram, Swell Season Surf. Go to our website, swellseasonradio.com. You can listen to all back issues. And of course, give us a like. Rate us on iTunes and Spotify.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Send us a comment, too.
Yeah, guys, write us. Got questions,
Tyler's in charge
ideas?
of the DMing.
Yeah.
So he'll
got
read
questions, interviews, ideas, please send them our way. We'll do our best to get to them. We work full-time gigs, but we try to get to it as best we can. But please, reach out. We'd love to hear from you. And, yeah, stay loose.
Awesome.
And we'll see you all on the end of the line, eh?
All right.
Cheers, Ben.
Bye.
Thanks.
But before I go, I've gotta ask you, dear, about that tan line on your ring finger. No one should have two lives.